some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
This video is not to discredit the existence of fictive alters, which absolutely can and do exist. In the same realm, faking disorders is also on the uprise. Being able to resonate so deeply with a character such as Angel Dust or Alastor might make a person who's faking, say, DID, want to create a fictive alter out of this, which can be quite harmful to share with the media, not only because of stigma, but the characters in these shows have complex history such as addiction issues, exploitative backgrounds, a cynical worldview, and a thirst for power. A lot of these characters have a disruptive personality. The scene is set in hell. So as we can imagine, glamorizing these behaviors, whether or not you are a fictive alter or a person without DID, it can be harmful. In the same way that doing on camera would not be okay whether it was a person with DID or without. Whether it's a form of self-expression or a coping mechanism, we can watch these fakers stigmatize a TV show along with a disorder.
Hey Systems, if you don't have access to therapy right now, just create a Hazbin hotel in your mind for the persecutors.
Whoa.
Why? What's wrong? What's wrong with that?
Are you making more interjects?
No. Just the hotel.
Oh, like to redeem them?
Yeah, to redeem persecutors.
I feel like then you're gonna get interjects.
Is it possible for a person to develop a fictive alter while going through a traumatic experience and they might resonate with someone in the show? Absolutely. A lot of people don't like the term persecutor alter because it kind of suggests that this person is doing bad things when in reality they were created as a coping mechanism. A lot of the characters within the show might be very relatable to us and we might become a part of the fan, be very, for lack of better words, obsessed with this genre. But being obsessed with a character or cosplaying as a character is not the same as DID. Some of the characters in the show outwardly express trying to quote-unquote fix others because of parental relationship difficulties.
What's the holdup? You got daddy issues?
No, we just have never been close. After he and Mom split, he never really wanted to see me. He calls sometimes, but only if he's bored or like needs me to do something.
Daddy issues.
Some characters like Angel Dust suffer with a history of addiction that seemingly stems from the abuse that he is currently going through.
Angel, baby, come home. It's not the same without you here. I miss you. You bitch. If you don't come home, you will be f***ing crazy. I didn't mean to yell, but you know how crazy you make me. You f***ing slut. Hey, Angie, about earlier. Your whole f***ing family work's really stressful. Little sucking piece of shit.
Some characters, while in hell, are hinted to have endured significant trauma during their time as a human. Alastor suggests a dark and troubled history, which has shaped his cynical worldview and thirst for power.
But if I wanted to hurt anyone here, I would have done so already.
Due to Vaggie's traumatic past, she struggles with feelings of inadequacy and insecurity. There are hints of flashback and subtle references contributes to her guarded nature and fierce loyalty to Charlie. Angel Dust's career in the adult entertainment industry hints at a history of exploitation and abuse.
This is my escape, where I can forget about it all, how much I hate everything. A place where I can get high and not have to think about how much it hurts.
It is absolutely okay to be a person struggling with these issues and working through them. But fetishizing these behaviors can be unhealthy to a community and also yourself.
Will I ever stop being a sarcastic asshole? Find out next week on I Think the F Not.
Having a history of trauma is not an excuse to be a sarcastic a-hole. So how does a fictive alter form? A fictive alter is formed when an individual with DID identifies strongly with a particular fictional character and integrates aspects of that character's personalities, memories, and traits within their own sense of self. This process occurs as a coping mechanism to distressing or traumatic experiences. This allows an individual to dissociate from their present reality, and oftentimes due to the criteria for DID, DID, the individual might have amnesia and unawareness of other alters, but this depends on your stage of healing. In some cases, alters might keep these traumatic memories or experiences isolated from the individual's conscious awareness as a means of self-protection. This can lead to a lack of awareness of their existence. I asked a DID system their opinion on the show. Just disclaimer that although I think their thoughts are very insightful, it might not be relatable to every single system. I am somewhat aware of Hazbin Hotel, but none of us really watched it because we would not be able to handle the subject matter. It brings up the ever-evolving "are fictives a real thing" debate. I think the main thing here is that people are seeing this as a trend in a way. Like a popular piece of media or show comes up, people start obsessing over the characters, and then we see a rise of people with fictives based on these characters. We saw this with the Dream SMP stuff and anime in general. Maybe because these characters are popular and mainstream, while some could be people exaggerating the character, cosplaying, what have you. I would not be surprised if some systems do have genuine fictives of some of these characters. Fictives have a lot of stigma surrounding them because they're seen as cosplays to fake claimers. They still don't seem to understand why fictives are created and that it's not a cosplay. My opinion on this is a bit conflicted. I think in some cases, a fictive in a system might feel comfortable making the body look closer to how they see themselves inside, or what feels better for them. But from my experience and hearing it from other systems, this might not be as common as portrayed in the media. I have never seen a fictive IRL that has gone all out in what looks like a cosplay just to film a video. To me, it seems like this fictive is nothing more than their source material, when fictives are so much more than that. They exist for more than just to say, hey, I have an alter from this show or anime or this movie. We developed a fictive from a comfort game. I knew that they would be able to handle what I wasn't thinking I would survive, all that stuff. His main concern when he's out is going through whatever's going on. The last thing he's worried about is changing, fixing our hair, grabbing a camera, and making a video. Some fictives might want to feel more comfortable when they front. That's perfectly normal. Plenty of alters might change into something they like or an item of clothing that's theirs. What I have a hard time understanding is the full-blown cosplays. When I see these videos of fictives from an anime show, movie, etc., and the video is tagged cosplay, I question it. Not fully fake claim, just question. Because why would it be a cosplay if an alter is this character, if that makes sense? My personal experience, when my fictive is fronting, he is himself. He doesn't need to throw on a costume to become more like himself, because he already is himself. In regard to developing a fictive from a TV show and being able to make content about them, I have mixed feelings. These videos show fictives with a massive amount of self-awareness and control of the front. With these Hazbin Hotel fictives, it could be that his fictive was split off to handle an extremely traumatic time that happened to occur while a system was deeply connected to the content, and no other alter or fragment was able to handle what was happening. They were split off like every other alter or fragment, and they exist to help the system cope and survive. If they are a new split, like within the past year or even months, then I would like to know how they were able to so easily settle into the system and be grounded enough and self-aware enough to pull together a perfectly accurate outfit and appearance to their source without having an existential crisis or worries about the fact that they came from a piece of media. DID is different for everyone in terms of how it's experienced day to day, but there are some things that have to be present across all cases. That's how it can be diagnosed. But the presentation of alters will be different from system to system depending on what's needed. Some systems may need to be overt to survive, while others need to be covert. However, in all of these videos, these fictives are incredibly overt. These systems could be perfectly comfortable letting their fictives post content dressed up as they appear in their source material. That's why this is a tricky conversation. It feels wrong saying that these fictives cannot be possible when they can be. For me, I would worry about safety when posting content. I'm also too preoccupied trying to get through the day that the idea of one of my parts being out long enough to pull together an elaborate outfit, film, edit, and post a video online is exhausting, and I'm the host. These systems are so comfortable with making this content, and the focus seems to be on the accuracy of the outfit and the fact that this is a fictive. The fictive in our system didn't know he was a fictive until recently, and it changed his entire perception of his existence. He learned that a video game based on intense traumas he went through exists, and anyone can play through his experiences, and it was very hard for him to understand. It's surprising to me that not only are these fictives so aware of their existence and that they are a fictive, but they work so hard to match their source material that it seems to be their only purpose. Not to help keep everything stable enough to function, just to exist, and this doesn't really make sense to me. Fictive shouldn't be treated more like a party trick than an alter. They are there for a reason.
We go to bed, you doze off, so I take your country girl clothes off. I put my hands on your body, it feels like, hey, it's a f***ing scarecrow again.
Can you discover an alter from a dream? Sure. Discovering a new alter or an alter that you didn't know existed can be very distressing. For some, it can lead to a feeling of a loss of control and fear of what that person might be doing while they're out. You are absolutely allowed to post whatever you want to, but why might somebody who is faking it feel the need to post so abundantly about these traumatic experiences? It can be quite simple, down to the point where you are unconsciously seeking a maladaptive coping skill. You are able to see others on the internet doing something that is even a step up from cosplay. They actually are these people. Not everyone, because these fictive alters absolutely can exist, but for a faker, they might be like, oh my god, when I'm scrolling through TikTok, I see all of this attention and validation from people having this fictive, and I'll have the same result. Faking a fictive alter allows the individual to escape from the challenges and realities of their own lives by immersing themselves in a fantasy world. They seek comfort in adopting the identity of a beloved fictional character, temporarily disconnecting themselves from their own struggles and responsibility. For others, it might be a form of role-playing, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with role-playing, except for when you're claiming it to be a disorder. Some individuals who lack a strong sense of identity or struggle with low self-esteem might lead them to adopt a fictional persona as a means of coping with these challenges. However, it can be at the expense of accidentally spreading misinformation or stigmatizing a disorder. I asked another person with DID to share their experiences. Well, first, fictives or non-human alters are formed from severe trauma. So other than the question of how does over 50 to 80 people have a Hazbin hotel alter created in less than 1 year, let's put in a theory and say that a person has DID as an adult and can create an alter based on the show. That would mean that they had another very severe traumatic event happen. But again, how is the host aware of this alter and its very detailed description? They might not have awareness of the alternative state, as DID is an amnesia-based disorder, without the application of therapy. It would be darn near impossible to be aware of the Alastor alter or others from Hazbin Hotel. There is a need to dress up and use contacts and display the character on a public app.
Leave me alone!
When you have DID, you might have fear that others are watching what you're doing, whether they're co-conscious or observing. However, at the early stages of healing, this might be a distressing experience. Because these alters were created due to a traumatic experience, it can be scary to have this communication at first because they hold these traumatic memories that your brain literally had to dissociate itself from. Faked fictive alters can undermine the authenticity and integrity of the community by blurring the lines between genuine expression of identity and fabricated personas. This can create a skepticism within the community that makes it more difficult for genuine alters to be taken seriously and recognized for their authentic experiences. And those with genuine fictives might feel invalidated or overshadowed by those who are faking it. Because at the end of the day, if you do have DID and it's not this glamorous side of it in which you have friends in your head, it could be very distressing to you to see this online. This creates an alienation and isolation for those who are genuinely dealing with these traumatic symptoms. It can also create tension within the community because we have people debating misinformation and create debates and disagreements over the validity of these alters. Again, this might be a genuine experience someone has. They might be in denial and, I don't know, making a fun TikTok about it might be a coping mechanism, but at the same time, it's important to be mindful of those who might be experiencing it in a way that isn't fun or quirky. Finally, I asked a fan of the show their opinion. As someone who is a very big fan of Hazbin Hotel, as well as other forms of animated media, I find the mental health stigma surrounding the show, particularly in regards to the DID TikTok community, rather appalling to say the least, and for multiple reasons. The first one being that it is an adult animated cartoon. It's not meant for anyone under the age of 18 due to the adult themes in it. It being a literal show about hell. I don't think anyone under that age, especially children on TikTok looking for a community to fit in with, should be consuming that media without adult supervision. And even more so if they are suffering from mental illness due to the sensitive and dark topics in the show. Secondly, and more importantly, some characters in the show have actually suffered horrific abuse at the hands of others, example being Angel Dust. And with people trying to mimic or replicate the behavior in a mental health community, it in a way seems to glamorize and popularize the abuse that happens to the characters. While it's fine to consume and write about media pertaining to darker topics as a form of awareness or interest, or hell, even role-playing is okay if done safely with the understanding that these behaviors in real life can be damaging and unhealthy. Replicating the behavior in real life or saying that you have a fictive in your head who behaves the exact same way as an abused character, this is not a healthy way of coping with real-world traumatic events, and in my opinion falls under a category of self-abuse, and as such shouldn't be shown to the susceptible minds of TikTok or a community advocating for better health treatment.
It's a good thing there are multiple takes on this device because I have been having quite the time. Anyway, let's try to get it right this time. My name is Alastor. I am very old, but also not at all old. I died young, and that is what I'm sticking to. I am a male, have experimented a little bit with agender. Repeating myself is getting very tedious. My sexuality is aromantic asexual, and I am proud of it. I'm very tired of this device. My ethnicity is Creole, mixed Creole, and also a demon. My role here is to be the physical protector, and I have been here since January 2020. I quite hate this.
I don't see anything wrong with introducing yourself as an alter, however, with some of these videos you kind of have to question a few things, such as why are you filming a TikTok video if you explicitly stated that you don't want to? In the process of healing, what is the purpose of dressing up as the fictive source that you are? And in some circumstances, it is absolutely acceptable, such as letting a little alter play with children's things. However, some therapists argue that embracing this identity, dressing up as yourself, can actually create more of a dissociation between you and your alters and the ultimate process of healing. I'm not a fan of talking about signs of faking because obviously someone with the actual disorder can have these experiences. However, we are able to see some people online have an alter of something that is very common in the media right now, which would make sense because people with DID watch media. But some of these people might adopt, say, Wednesday Addams, and then when the show's not popular anymore, that alter just doesn't really post anymore. It's not stated that that alter is integrated or dormant, they just don't talk about them. In many cases of DID that we see, an alter can be overt with their different personality than the other alters. However, within the faking community, we can see kind of an overly dramatic or attention-seeking kind of behavior. And this isn't even to say that these people might not have DID. Maybe they do, but glamorizing or exaggerating your symptoms nonetheless can be viewed as slightly irresponsible to the community. They might become hostile or evasive when questioned about the inconsistencies or asked to provide evidence to support their identity. But you kind of have to ask yourself, is in a clinical setting, seeing a therapist, would this said therapist be okay with you posting about glamorizing these maladaptive behaviors? It kind of questions an ethical standpoint because of the bad behaviors that are portrayed by these characters in the show, and showing the abuse of yourself or others might be something that is dangerous to show on TikTok. Everybody is different, but dissociative identity disorder is a complex dissociative disorder where a lot of the times you might be unaware or in denial that you have it. Meanwhile, we can see people on TikTok who are self-diagnosed have full awareness and communication with these alters. It can be viewed as sort of similar to if I break my leg and decide that I'm going to fix it myself. I don't have the knowledge or supplies that are needed to do so. Thank you for joining me on this complicated landscape of fictive alters being faked within the Hazbin Hotel community. How do you feel about the representation of fictive alters within the Hazbin Hotel community? Have you ever found portrayals of DID within pop culture that you found troubling? Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, turn the bell on if you're feeling risky, and comment below. Thank you so much. Also, thank you so much to each and every one of my members. It literally means the world to me that you are willing to support me. And to everyone, have a good day, night, whatever the case may be, and peace out.